I'd like to thank the management of this institution for giving us the opportunity to come and have your Sangha. Sangha, they say in India, right? To come and have your Sangha. To come and have your association. So, self-management is not something new. Everyone is involved in some form of self-management. It's just like everybody is to some degree a manager. We are managing the affairs of our homes. We are managing our school schedule. We go to bed at a particular time so as to be able to wake up to catch up with our studies. So everyone basically is a manager. In the homes, in most cases, we find that our mothers are managing the home perfectly well. So when it comes to self-management, it has to do with some endogenous system of managing and connecting the lower self with the higher self. We can't talk of self-management without understanding our pristine identity. Within this bodily tabernacle, we have the lower self and the higher self, or the jiva and the super soul, or the paramatma. And therefore, self-management implies aligning the needs of the jiva with the paramatma. Or when we come to the management system, self-management basically is all about directing and redirecting the functional connotations of our feelings, thinking, emotions. And people who are devoid of self-management, they get into trouble very easily. So today we'll be talking about how self-management enhances high performance. So one of the problems with modern education is that in most cases, I know in the case of the Western countries, we don't have departments that talk about ourselves. In other words, we don't have educational departments that discuss about our original identity, who we are in relation to other living beings. So self-management, we need to understand that it is very crucial for academic excellence, well-being, and high performance, in the sense that self-management entails a lot of self-monitoring of our emotions, our feelings, our behavior. Because without self-management, how can we try to manage big multinational corporations? I mean, it's like somebody who tried to lead a congregation of people or a big nation without leading themselves, without self-leadership. You cannot be an effective or transformational national leader or international leader. First, it begins with ourselves. So in a similar way, self-management basically is a foundation for managing big corporations, because it helps us to direct our sensory modalities in a proper way that facilitate high performance, high productivity, and well-being. Employee self-management facilitates organizational goal achievement. Now, in every organization, the founder of that organization has documented, has crafted his or her vision, the mission statement of that organization, and the goals that the organization intends to achieve. And if any procedural methodology or if any system or practice helps in attaining a goal or the goals of that organization, basically that is what the organization desires. And self-management has been proven beyond reasonable doubt to be the springboard of the achievement of organizational goals, mission, and vision. Particularly about global development. But the global society is constituted of individuals. If the individuals are developed, if they are self-developed, then global development becomes easy because global development is just the aggregate of the development of the people on a planet. So individually, if people are able to embark on processes and strategies that help or that facilitate self-development, then global development becomes like very, very easy. So from research studies, it's been proven beyond reasonable doubt that self-management facilitates self-development. And self-development is a sine non, or it's an imperative factor for global development. Therefore, self-management facilitates global development. Although self-management is important for high performance and sustainable development, research in this area, specifically on self-management for high performance, is negligible in the management domain. Now, when you have to conduct a research, you have to look at the topic or the subject matter that is a gap in the literature. A gap means some research has not been done on that field, on that area, or there are not many research studies conducted on that very topic because your research supervisor wants to see that you do something unique, something new that people become attracted. In other words, they want originality of a research project. And so we decided to embark on this study because research on self-management for high performance is lacking in the academic domain. So there is a gap. So that's a prerequisite for research. When you go into higher studies, say you do a master's or a PhD, they emphasize, your supervisors emphasize so much on the gap in the literature so that your research could be rated high originality. Introduction and background continue. I've documented make presentations regarding the strategies for self-management. And one is accountability, emotions regulations, smart goals setting. Smart goals. S means specific. Your goals must be specific. M refers to measurable. The question that the researcher will ask himself or herself is this goal measurable? Can we measure the goal? Is it achievable? Is it relevant? Is it time bound? That encompasses SMART. SMART goals is so imperative. When we study goals, the goal theory, we understand all of the details, all of the nitty-gritties of SMART goals. Organization. We need organization to be able to attain self-management. If you are not organized, and it's so easy to catch up to see whether this person is organized or not. If you go to their if you go to their homes or to their office, you check out. In some places you go, you see things are just scattered all over the place. Oh, they're not organized. They can be self-managers. So you have to be organized. It's one of the strategies for self-management. You can say, well, you can't tell people, well, I'm highly self-managed. I'm a good self-manager. And then they come to your room and you see the things are scattered all over the place. Time management. Time management is a major factor militating against students' academic achievement, especially these days, that the cell phone is in vogue. I was just watching some video clip a couple of days ago, and I saw they have developed an app that discourages people from using their phones all the time. Have you seen that in India? This boy is a young man, a university student. He was on bed. He just woke up from bed. And the first thing he did was to pick up his phone and start browsing. So then his father has sent this app to him. And so when he clicked on the app, he just jumped back from the bed. he dropped the cell phone. I think it will get to India also very soon. But the point is, see, there is nothing wrong in using the cell phone. But if you don't have self-control, it is a big challenge. Because I've seen also cases where the use of the phone, just even recently, one young girl, she failed her exams because of addiction to the telephone. It's like an addiction. Because once you pick the telephone, I mean, you keep using it, you keep browsing, you're checking your WhatsApp messages, you're checking this and that, you go to that platform and this platform, and before you know, your time is eating up. And if it happens repeatedly, it will even cause you depression. Because at the end of the day, when you find that your to-do list was not met, you will not be happy. And if that unhappiness happens every day due to lack of or due to ineffective time management, then single little drips of unhappiness will bring in depressive feelings. So time management is one of those strategies. And if you are not spiritually oriented, you may have all of the good intentions. If you may not be able to control yourself. I repeat, if you are not practicing some form of spirituality, you will not be able to control yourself. So you may even have your timetable. This is the time I'm going to read. But then you're reading and you have your telephone by your side. And then the phone rang and you pick the phone. You say, hello. And your book is waiting there. Okay. And then after 2 hours of talking on the phone back and forth, 2 hours is enough for you to digest so much of information from your coursework. But it's good for casual talks, not talks that are related to your studies. Now, by the time you finish your studies, your parents are not going to ask you how many telephone calls did you receive each day. They're going to ask you, what is your grade? When you get back home, they will ask you, what is your grade? First class honors? Second class honors? So, I'm not anti-telephone. I have two phones. One is my American phone, and one is my local Indian phone. But if I'm going to do anything essential, I don't even carry the phone. I'm going to read, I'm going to do research, I lock up the phone away. Because time management is so important. In fact, the unfortunate thing is that in majority of schools, they don't teach students time management. Even in my case, I studied time management as a course, as a semester course when I was doing my PhD. So first degree, second degree, nothing about time management. And so this creates a setback on students. And therefore, it is up to us to be able to see how we imbibe this culture of time management in pursuance to attaining self-management. Self-motivation is another strategy that enhances self-management. Self-care. If you don't take care of yourself, it becomes very difficult to become a good self-manager. Self-empowerment. If you can make decisions and choices, understanding that your future rests in your own hands, then you're paving the way to self-management. Stress management and self-realization, solid therapeutic intervention. So these are some of the strategies that are valuable to us for promoting our self-management. Organizational performance measurement. Grounded in Kaplan and Norton, 1996 Balanced Scoreboard, BSC framework, performance is tracked and measured in several aspects such as financial performance, customer support, social responsibility, means such as corporate citizenship and community involvement, staff stewardship. Now, Kaplan and Norton, they developed this scorecard framework for measuring performance. Business leaders utilize a BSC framework for assessing organizational performance using a more proportionate selection of performance indicators. Definition of concepts. Performance is the extent to which an individual or organization accomplishes or meets their goals, mission, and vision in a metacognitive time frame. It's not the whole lifetime within a particular time frame. So, as a student, you are doing you're studying engineering or you're studying management within a specific time frame or a metacognitive time frame, you're supposed to graduate. And that performance is viewed, your performance is viewed in relation to that time frame. Self-management is the capability to control one's behaviors, thoughts, and emotions consciously and productively. Aligning the service orientation of the lower self with the higher self constitutes self-management. Please, audience, thank you. Now, I mentioned earlier in the opening about our Christian identity. We have this body tabernacle, but we are not just only the body. The body just like a cloth covering ourselves. So we have the two selves, or the jiva, as we call it in Sanskrit, and the paramatma. So self-management, the self, managing the self also implies aligning the needs of the jiva or the lower self with the higher self. In fact, if we are not able to do that, and we simply become victims of the dictates of the mind and the sensory modalities, we can never become situated in genuine or authentic, sustainable self-management. And our lives will be miserable. Imagine someone who is not able to control their emotions, who cannot direct their emotions productively. Then there's a problem. And that is the difference between a successful person and a failure. Of course, we use failure as a springboard for success. But why attempt to fail? There's no need to attempt to fail. Therefore, we need to use those strategies that help us in achieving our goals. The capacities that enable people to control their ideas, feelings, and behaviors are known as self-management skills. Sonic therapeutic intervention involves the capitulatory self-administration of specific transcendental sound vibrations that facilitate positive change. Problem statement. When we want to make a presentation or want to conduct a research on any topic, the first question that comes to mind is, what is the problem we are trying to address? Because in engineering school or in the management sciences, we are not supposed to be like parrots. In other words, we don't engage in parrotology. Parrotology means just talking like a parrot and not really addressing the problem. So the problem statement, is there any problem here that you are trying to address? Yes, there's a problem. Where? Is it global problem? Yes. But global problem, I'm in India, so what's my concern about global problem? Yes, there is also a specific problem. But these two issues have to be taken into consideration when we're conducting a research. Is this problem I'm trying to address, is it of global concern? Next, is it something that has to do with my community or with my local setting? So those two things have to be there. And this presentation or this study fits into those segments. Self-management prevents suicidal ideation. Global suicide deaths, over 700,000 suicide deaths transpire every year. according to the World Health Organization. Now, the specific problem is that 13,089 students died by suicide in 2021, a 4% increment of 2020 students' deaths by suicide of 12,526. And where is that? In India. In India. So it is a serious concern. We are trying to address a local problem with self-management. So it's not just about speaking some philosophy and getting away. Ariba. Thank you. The problem is, audience, the problem is that our students are dying. And the major reasons is that, if you Google self-management, is mainly used in the healthcare industry. That theory, there's the number of theories of self-management used in the healthcare industry, mental health, physical health, etc. But there is also this self-management in the management domain or in the management sciences. So that's one theory. A theory could be developed in psychology, and that theory is used in addressing problems in management science, in political science, in engineering, etc. That is how the self-management conceptualization works. Policy formulator is so relevant, it's so important. Therefore, policy formulators and curriculum developers should make some provisions for courses and training in self-management. If it is that so important, why not? Considering that self-management is imperative for higher performance and national development. The need for this study is to fill the gap in the literature. Purpose and conceptual framework. Grounded in self-regulation, CAMPAT 1970, and sonic therapeutic intervention, DAS 2021, proper 2020 frameworks. The investigative inquirer explored self-management for higher performance. That's a topographical error there. The SCI facilitates self-management for high performance. So when we are conducting the research, there is a pivot. That's something we use. It's like the driver of the research. It's called the research question. That helps you in your literature search. It helps you also in developing the question that you will ask the participants. If it is, for instance, if you're using hermeneutic phenomenology, for instance, you want to get people's feelings, what they experience, their lived experience. Then you need research question to be able to use in developing your interview questions. Research questions could be more than one, could even be more than 10, but there is a main research question and there are sub-research questions. So here we only use the main research question. How does self-management facilitate high performance? So with this very research question, we key in this in the Google Scholar or any of the databases that we use in our literature search. And we are able to generate our data. Because this study is of a secondary data orientation. In other words, we did not go to conduct experiment to get primary data. There's primary data and secondary data. And so what we did was to utilized secondary data, and the research question helped in the literature search. Method. Every research or study uh, must follow a particular methodology or method and approach or design. There are three main methodologies in research, in scientific research. There is a quantitative research, a quantitative method, a qualitative, and mixed methods. This very study used the qualitative method. The problem is with qualitative method is that it's not always generalizable. With quantitative methods, it is so easy. You can generalize quantitative when you use a quantitative method in research. It's very useful for generalization. But this very study was based on qualitative method. Data was generated inductively through a scoping review of the literature. Scoping review simply implies that we don't go to search everywhere on any team, on every team, or on every topic. No, that is a scope. If you are conducting a research, that's a scope of your study. And that granted that the scope you are working on or you're using is within a peripheral circumference, your search has to be within that circumscription. And so it's called scoping review because we are not just searching all over the management domain, but searching for something very specific. And so within a particular scope. Keywords: efficiency, innovation, self-empowerment, self-leadership, self-motivation, sonic therapeutic intervention. The keywords are those things that when people search for this study on the web, these keywords are able to pop up. If they key in any of these keywords, they will get your report or your study. Data collection and analysis. When you conduct your research, that's what we call the collection of data. You have the data, but then you have to collect it. But bring this and bring that, bring all of them together, and you analyze. So the scoping review facilitated data collection, and the databases that we use in generating data were the Business Source Complete, Premium, EBSCO, Elsevier, Emerald, Google Scholar, Igenta, ProQuest, PubMed, Science Direct, Taylor and Francis, and Turia database. The data was analyzed thematically. Results: self-management enables suicidal ideation prevention. If you Google the web, self-management for preventing suicide, you see so many scientific researches that have been conducted. And they give you a simple understanding that those who are self-managed, they don't get involved in killing themselves. Innovation. Self-management gives you the opportunity for innovative ideas. And if you are innovative, then that is the essence of high performance. High performance gives you the opportunity to become different, to have excellence in your area of study or in your discipline. It means you are innovative. Post-conventional consciousness. Post-conventional consciousness means that you know what is to be done. And you're undaunted. So to say, you're undaunted. You don't budge. You just know this is what I'm going to do, whatever temptations that come. You said, get thee hence, get thee hence, get thee hence. But it's not so cheap to see the glad in effulgence of temptations, and then you back up. Self-management gives that enablement of post-conventional consciousness. I mean, it's like people in Indian spirituality, they call Goswamis. The Goswamis, they have very strict system of living. So if you go and tell them, they will not quarrel with you. Okay, for instance, if some of them, their systems are so strict. So if you go and tell them, they will not quarrel with you. They will say, all right, this is a very good idea. We'll talk about it later. No quarrel. They'll be your friends. They will not be angry with you. Okay? Yeah, that is post-conventional consciousness. They are friends to everybody. Okay? But they don't miss their paths. As a student, listen, as a student, I, I remember when I was in high school, we were living in boarding houses. And so it was a mixed school, boys and girls. The boys, they have their own dormitories, the girls, they have their own dormitories. But at that time, as a teenager, I saw my friends during in the night, they sneak out. They sneak out to go to parties. But one thing used to strike my mind. I thought, wait a minute. But at the end, that time, secondary school was 5 years. So at that time, I thought to myself, but wait a minute. At the end of my 5 years, my father is not going to ask me how many parties I went. He will ask me, hey, what is your grade? So I never sneaked out for parties. I just focused on my book work. I didn't know about, this type of consciousness, but I was just afraid that I don't disappoint my parents. I don't disappoint my father. So self-management enables smart goals, focus orientation. We discussed about smart goals earlier. If you don't have goals, if you don't have strategies to be able to excel in your studies, then you are as well looking for trouble. Because you may just be in a university or in a high institution, and you're waiting for your years to pass by, and you're just struggling to pass exam. I tell my students, I tell my friends, my young friends, hey, you have to read as if your exam is tomorrow. And don't just read to pass your exams. Read to have A plus. When you do that, you have great opportunities for more educational openings. But if you just, unfortunately, some of the students, they're just waiting for the time to pass, okay? And then, it's all over, it's done, I'm finished. And it's not just about finish. Be one of those who can be a resource person for people even yet to be born. Means you have to work extra hard. Setting goals is so imperative for high performance. And self-management facilitates goal setting intentions. Sustainable self-development. Self-leadership. Some people want to lead the world. They want to be the leaders. If you want to become the president of India, first you should lead yourself. If you want to become the president of your community, first you should lead yourself. Self-leadership is so imperative. And if you can manage yourself, if you can monitor your emotions, that would be great. If you can self-evaluate yourself, and if you can have that self-reinforcement, it's an added value to your self-management. And that will help to create or regenerate a sustainable future in your life. Efficiency means doing something with minimal resources within a short time, but getting perfect results. Less energy, less time, less money, less resources, getting perfect. Self-management facilitates efficiency. For high performance. Effective time management, we have discussed about that. Self-empowerment. If you don't have the empowerment, if you don't empower yourself, it becomes very difficult to become high performer. So all of these 9 teams, they facilitate high performance. Social change implications. When I was doing at Walden University in my school, when I was doing my PhD, in all subject areas, in all disciplines, and whatever you are researching on, you must bring out something, and that is the social change implication. How is this your study going to help in leveraging the society? How is this your research going to help in promoting social responsibility? How is your research going to facilitate, social harmony and help others to grow? And so that is all about social change implications. Social change is the augmentation of human or social conditions by supporting individuals, communities, nations, organizations. This study supports or has implications for positive social change in the sense that it enhances sustainable efficiency, also more significant team leadership, and result-oriented decision-making in the workplace. Also, the study results have the potential to promote job satisfaction. You may do a job so perfectly well, but you can work for so many hours, overtimes and all these things, or you can read for so many hours all through the night, but did the content go into the part of your brain that you can recall when you want to use it? When it's time for exam, can you recall what you've read? So that is the important fact. Also, the study results have the potential to promote job satisfaction. If you have a recall system that is based on self-regulation and self-management, you'll be happy. You have satisfaction. And happiness associated with high performance. Talent management. This study also promotes, the result of the study also help in promoting talent management. Talent management means management of the skills that are valuable at the time. And that's also a very difficult area, but the study helps to facilitate that. The study results could enhance social responsibility associated with high performance mindset. Social responsibility means that you want to help people around you. You want to help members of your community. But if you are not a high achiever, you don't have sufficient money to feed yourself and your family. How are you going to think about members of your community? Therefore, high performance, it is a springboard for high achievement. And so we need this strategy, self-management, to be able to grow and sustain our growth, to be able to improve and sustain that improvement. So these are the some of the references that we use in this study. In in academia, we we stand on the shoulders of academic gurus. People have developed theories, models, and we use those models and theories for our programs, for our researches, to achieve our goals. And so we make references to them. We don't claim, oh, this is my idea. I'm a great thinker, you know. So, yeah, these are some of the references we use. And it's important to always make references. I like references. And so I read, I'm also a spiritualist, like you see in my dress. So I read something in India when I was in India here. So I read some pastimes about Lord Krishna. Someone has documented on the web. So I was curious. I wanted to know so that I can make a reference to it when I'm telling some stories. So I called the guy. I said, unfortunately, he put his telephone. So I called him up. I said, please, I like this story. I like this lila. Could you help to tell me where you got this lila? Can you give me the reference? He told me, all right, he's going to figure it out and get back to me. So I waited up a couple of days. He didn't get back to me. So I called him back. References. So I called him back, and then, he changed the topic. He started asking me, how does somebody become a member of ISKCON? then, then I knew it doesn't have a reference. So, as scholars, we must understand. So I remember also when I was doing my PhD, so we are in a convocation. Haribo. I remember when I was doing my PhD, we were in a convocation, and some guy was talking about a particular country, about crime in that country. So, and these are the doctors, PhD. So I said, excuse me, sir, can I have a reference about what you're talking about? It was just a propaganda. I said, see, you're a doctor. You cannot follow what the politicians are doing in the newspapers. At the bar. So we have to be conscious about the fact that people say things, we should not confront them, but we should humbly request them to provide a reference, because you want to repeat what you have heard from that person to other people, but they may ask for reference. So humbly ask for reference. That is what scholarship entails. So these are the references we use. References continue, so a bunch of them. So thank you very much. Any comments or questions? I have my information there, website, email, LinkedIn page, and WhatsApp number 2. Haribo. It's okay. Order. So Any comments or questions? Please, less noise.
Good afternoon, sir.
You're welcome.
My question is that in take different strategies for all the purpose management, but we are not consistent enough to apply those strategies in our daily life. So how can we get it consistent?
At the back. Question.
We different strategy for our management, but we are not consistent enough.
I quit smoking. To come up to that standard of making that decision and declaring it to himself, that's a bold step. But then after 3 weeks, he fell back to smoking again. So yes, we may have strategies and of the style. They don't work like this. They see the grown-up people working 50, so they want to work like that too. And then they try to do that and they fall down. And sometimes they cry. The parents have to come get them up, encourage them, motivate them to move on. Order. Can we listen to noise, please? So, just like a child has a strategy to work, they work and then they fall. They don't lie down there. They try and get up again. That is practice, regular practice. And they are detached from the result. That's a failure. I'm not able to, sustain the implementation of the strategy. We go back again. That's a failure. We go back again. We do it. We should be conscientious in reenacting that very leader, that very pastime of implementation, sustainable implementation. It is so challenging. People can develop all types of, agendas. They may make all types of rules, but sustainable implementation, sustainable means a long time, that should go on in a long time for the benefit of all. That is a different story. So, if we are spiritually oriented, we have control of the mind. In fact, this is explained. Order, please. This is explained by Gottfriedson and Hitchie in their general theory of crime, that explicates or explains why self-control is the bedrock of sustainable implementation of our strategies. Self-control. And to be able to have self-control, there are strategies for self-control. And one of those strategies is sonic therapeutic intervention. Like in our movement, sonic therapeutic intervention, we chant the holy names of Lord Krishna, Ram and Hare. Hare is the invocative form of Radha or Hari. Please, less noise, please. Sorry. We're getting over it right just now. So we chant this mantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now you can chant this mantra in a mode of goodness. You can also chant this mantra in a mode of passion. And you can also chant this mantra in a mode of ignorance. So we try to chant in a mode of goodness at the appropriate time, early in the morning. And we become situated in self-control. And so when we have a strategy, we are able to implement and sustain the implementation. That's a simple. I have seen that in my own life as a scholar and a spiritual practitioner. So try it. Any other question? Yes. What about it? What about the time? It's 2 already. So we're supposed to be over. Okay, last question, please, because it's 1 hour. This is a learning institution.
They may ask the private. That will go and admit the class. Those who have
Okay.
those who are
So we are temporary. I mean, we have, so to say, we have ended the talk. Those who want to go to class, they can go to class, and those who have some questions, they can ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to say something to everyone.
Thank you very much. And we appreciate from our management, staff, and students. Once again, thank you.
Thank you.